everybody, and welcome back to Newfound Reads. My name's Julia Mayo. I work with the NL Public Libraries, and it is my pleasure to welcome to Newfound Reads today, Claire Wilkshire. Morning, Claire. How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
Oh, always good, always good. So we're going to talk a little bit about your book, Love Olympics. And I had some questions for you. Are you ready? Studied
Okay.
up? Excellent. Okay. First question I had for you. I've often heard authors talk about their books as if they're children, that they have given birth to this creation and they send it out into the world. Um, how are you feeling about your latest child, Love Olympics?
Well, it's an interesting way of thinking about it because the first story, which is the one I've probably had most feedback on, is called Mothers, and it's about sending a child out into the world. It's about a parent taking a child to university away and helping them, set up the apartment and buy the toilet paper and do all that stuff. And it's about leaving them behind to go home uh, and hoping that everything will be all right and hoping people will be nice to the child. And I've had a lot of feedback from mothers who've been in similar situations who've said felt the same way.
Oh, I'm
So
tearing up just thinking about it.
it is kind of like that, and it is kind of like that with your book. You put it out in the world and think, oh, I hope people will appreciate it.
And
um,
appreciate the gifts that they're bringing to the world, you know? Yeah. I have two children myself, and so I totally understand that first story in the book, and totally can relate to it. And um, it is difficult to do that, but it's all part of natural development. You want them to go out into the world and make their own place in the world, but it's hard to let go.
It is, and you feel a little bit protective of. Well, you feel a lot protective of your child, I think, often,
Yes.
and kind of protective of your book too. Like you just sort of hoping it will be all right out there. But once it's out in the world, then people have their own opinions, and if they don't like it, that's fine. That's up to them. And so I don't worry about those things. But yeah, you feel a little bit kind of like it's your little fledgling that's flying on its own.
So I have an added question to that that just popped into my head. Um, after giving birth, often you feel this, like, you're exhausted, but at the same time elated to have, completed this task. Um, and then you're sometimes, not everyone, but some people will say, "Oh, let's go and have another one." Immediately. Do you feel that way after your book is completed, that you're just so, like, hyped up and excited that you're like, "Oh, I can't wait to start the next one"?
I don't know that I feel that way. I mean, part of the process with books is that by the time it comes out, that's already at quite a far remove from the completion of the writing of the story. So you write them and then you go through the editing process and it gets designed and it gets copy edited and all those things. So by the time and it goes to print and it's shipped, and so by the time all that stuff happens, you're already a fair distance out from being kind of right in the book. So it's not quite like the drama of actual childbirth. Uh, there's not that kind of climactic moment, I guess. So I don't know. After I wrote my novel, my first book, which is called Maxine, it took me a long time to feel like writing something again. And I have a few little. Right now, I'm just too busy to write anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter whether I feel like doing it or not. But I'm hoping that I'm starting to think of a few little things. I'm hoping I might sort of within, I don't know, 6 months start making some notes and going back over some old things and seeing if I feel like revamping them or starting something new maybe.
So Love Olympics is a loosely connected collection of stories with characters of the different stories showing up in stories throughout. How did you keep all that straight? Did you already have a plan, like a bigger plan, or did it just happen organically, like they just happened to show up as you're writing the other stories?
Well, it started happening organically. I wrote the first few stories and started to think, oh, I think it would be nice if so and so could meet this person, and if there could be those kinds of interconnections. I hadn't started out originally with the idea that I would do that. Um, and after a while, I thought, yes, I really want to write an interconnected series of stories set in St. John's. And then I started to realize how complicated it is to do that, because if you have characters popping up in different stories set at different times, you have to think, oh my gosh, how old is this? Because they're all different ages. The characters range from about 16 to 90 something. So how old is this person when that happens, and when does this incident take place, and is this person in high school, or have they graduated from high school? Or so I have a giant Excel spreadsheet with each story and pretty much every character and how old they are at different stages and what stories they appear in. And it got to be a bit of a nightmare, actually. The kind of interlocking bits of plot and age and characteristics and who knows who and all that kind of thing. But the spreadsheet saved me. It was fantastic.
I knew there had to be an organizational thing happening there, because I knew, like, well, me personally, I wouldn't be able to keep half of it straight. So I was really impressed by how they could, like, move through the different stories. I thought it was awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so our very last question. Conversations and dialogue are a really important part of a story, and I love a good witty repartee. What is a bit of dialogue that you've written that you're extremely, proud of, or that you wish that you could use in real life conversation? Like, you're like, oh my God, I wish I could have totally said that to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that, and I don't have a ton of dialogue in this book. Uh, and I searched for witty dialogue, and I was disappointed to find that I hadn't written very much of it. I like to think there are lots of places in the book that are funny, but often it's people's dialogue kind of inside their heads. So I don't know if I would really characterize the dialogue as witty, but there are things that I guess are interesting to me that come out in dialogue. So, for example, there's a very long story. It's almost novella length about three women. They've all just turned 50 and they're very close friends, and they've been friends for a really long time. And they're at a party and they're playing a game called Two Truths and a Lie. And so you have to say two things that are true and one that's a lie, and everybody has to guess.
Everybody has
And
to
one of
guess
them,
which is which.
right. So one character says, I once met Benny from ABBA, and her friends are astonished. Her two best friends. This story is about the trio of them, and they figure out that this has to be the truth, because the other two things have been lies. And they're thinking, how could we all have known each other all this time and we didn't know? How could she never have mentioned that she met Benny from ABBA? And so they're just completely confounded by this piece of information
Gobsmacked.
that is just dropped into the dialogue. Whereas of the new friends at the party, that they're not phased, because they don't know her, so they don't really know whether it is likely to have happened or not. So you can have these moments in dialogue where things happen and they kind of resonate differently for other people.
I think that's perfect. Well, Claire, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and thanks for being on our YouTube series, Newfound Reads. And that's it. That's it for today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been really nice to meet you.
It's wonderful to meet you. You come and visit us at the library anytime.
I do. I like it there.